body counts. I went on one of your lives.
You were
Now,
there.
and you know what? And I wasn't going on to judge. I wasn't going on to ridicule anybody because everybody's has their own opinion,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
But and body counts, I went on, and this Tony the Tiger guy just went off on me, and I'm like, whatever, dude. We'll talk another time.
Yeah.
But body counts. Let me again from this old man's perspective at 39. Like when I went out to the dating world, like I said, everybody had already got divorced, had a kid, met the love of their lives, and separated. So I wasn't going to judge anybody about what they had done. Now that doesn't mean I'm just going to date somebody who had a really checkered past. And I think what we're forgetting is that when you're dating somebody, right, you kind of get an idea of who they are. Like I just told that story. I picked up this one girl first date. She starts giving me a BJ. Okay, you're obviously not going to be somebody I'm going to consider for a serious relationship,
Exactly.
right? There's obviously not going to happen, and that probably speaks to what she's done in the past. So there it is. But if I'm dating a woman and she's well-spoken, she's educated, and she's witty, and we're getting along great, and we're not doing anything like that on the first date, I can kind of see the character in the woman she is for who she is, right?
Right.
And then we can go from there. But I've never been one to ask because, again, at my point, who the hell am I to ask? Because I have a past myself. So when it comes to body counts, why do you think it's important for young men? Well, let me kind of rephrase that question. Why is it there's a heavy, I guess, rule that women cannot have a high body count, but guys can put their dick in anything, and that's accepted? That's the one contradiction that I don't follow as an older guy.
So I don't think that is okay. I just think that I specifically, like I said in the beginning, like I'm not pro men or women. I think it's just reality, and we could talk about the should, the could, and the would, and like reality is, like I said, nobody has discipline anymore. But again, like who's dictating what? And it's like I know so many girls, and again, it's in a very shallow era where I asked this girl, like, all right, if he had a body count, I reversed in many ways in scenarios, and it's multiple countless times where if a guy had a high body count, but he had everything to offer, 9 out of 10 things, she doesn't give a shit about his body count. The only reason why women actually care about men's body count is if theirs is extremely high and the guy doesn't have much to offer, but just enough where they can work with, and they want like on an equal plate of like fairness. They're willing to work with the guy. So
what's high? What's high for a woman? I just for reference. I
so,
know everyone's different.
I
right?
know,
But
like this is the tough part because I think like it's always one extreme again at the other. I don't think it has anything to do with numbers. Like I've mentioned before, like I don't think it's a numbers thing. I think it's a lot of things that I tell people that it's the habits that come with having a high body count. For example, you were saying like if you go on a date with somebody, she's reserved, she's calm, collected, she's most likely not going to have a body count like 30, 40, 50. She's not sleeping around town because if she did, she wouldn't be that calm reserved. Right. She'd be heightened because she has like PTSD of other guys beating her to the punch and her not letting her talk, or she's scared that she might have to pay and all this crap. Like, what am I doing here? Or do I have to go home with you?
Right.
You can tell of these habits that women do that, oh, okay, you've done this before. Like, you know, someone who's calm and collected is like, she's observing, she's like watching everything, she's timid, and you can tell like, okay, maybe she hasn't done this a lot. And that's really what I mean when I say like body count is important for women, because it's like there's still a sense of, you know, like you still gotta be reserved and calm collected as a woman to attract the man that you want at the end of the day. Like women, we like men who are strong, who's gonna speak up, who's gonna be more like open to dealing with confrontation, you know. And if a guy he's been an experience, I'm not saying he should go screw the zip code, but I should say like he should not be scared to deal with people, men or women. I would much rather prefer that. I'm not saying like I want someone who's been around town. So I think it varies with ages. Like I'm 28, so I've known girls who are my age who are up there in the 80s. I don't even have 80 people in my contacts. Like how have you 80s? Like a lot of my friends are street interviewers, and they interview girls, and they ask them.
I just laughed and spit out.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So my friends are interviewing these girls in Miami, in New York. Yeah, and it's crazy because like everyone's For You page is different, but like my friends are street interviewers. These are raw content of these girls saying, "I don't care. It's 80. So what? It's 50. It's 60." Da da da. Mind you, they're younger than me, and I'm not saying you should be 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just saying, like, bro, can we keep it at a reasonable rate here? Like, if you went to college, make it reasonable. If you haven't gone to college, make it more reasonable. Like, I didn't go to college. There's no reason why my shit is, you know, in the 20s, 30s. Like, there's no reason for that. I just don't think it's. And I've asked many girls, like, what did you get out of it? I've gotten good friendships out of it. Well, friendships don't require having sex. So, other than sleeping with them, what did you get out of it? Nothing. You know what I mean? And for men, I think it's important for them to experience sex. Other than that, like men are performers in bed. if you haven't had that experience, you're going to be stressing out on how to not finish fast. You're going to be, it's not just mental, it's physical for men to have that discipline. So if you only had one or two partners, you're going to be a serial killer. You're going to be a weirdo. You're going to be dreaming of a lot of other things. Like, let's say a guy gets married and he hasn't have a good sex life. What happens? He starts looking at his friends who has a great sex life. He starts looking at porn. He starts looking at all these because he's dreaming about, man, what if my partner was this way? Because he hasn't gotten out of his system. Because sex is different for men than it is for women. That's why I think like people think it's unfair, but I don't think men and women are the same. We're not equal. So to say that women dream about sex like that, we don't. And if they are, they're bored with their life. They're not happy with their partner. They're not happy with themselves. So they dream about getting dick down is what they say, women. But usually the girls who say those vulgar phrases are usually the girls who are built like a fridge. I say that and I will probably get canceled.
Well, I can't say that. I guess a woman saying that about a woman could be fine, but me, there's no.
It's me here. Like, it's the whole point of me not being reserved, so I can say shit like this.
And that's why I love this. This is awesome. But while you were talking, I got a calculator out and did 80 divided by, let's just say 5 years. So that's 16 partners a year.
Exactly.
That's too much.
That's what I mean.
And again, I don't want to come off like I don't think body counts don't matter. They do. But as a young man, then I had to go back, like in the old days, rewind. Like when I was younger, body counts did matter. Because from a guy standpoint, we didn't want somebody who was just the town bike and everyone had a ride on her or whatever. But also we went by reputation. You know, there was no social media back then. It was always her name. Hey, what does she work? Is that
exactly?
Oh, I know her. It was all reputation back then. Now with social media, you can kind of get an idea. But it does matter because, but a lot of times for young men, especially if they haven't had a successful dating life or had a lot of sex, if the woman has more than him, let's just say he's got 2 and she's got, let's go 7, a reasonable number, and she's 25, right? Okay. I think that's okay. Yeah. A lot of guys would still find that infuriating, and they would have this, speaking from a young man at one point, and what young men say, there's an insecurity there because now I got to compare myself to 7 other guys. Maybe another guy's bigger than me. Maybe she did some things with him that she's not going to do with me. Now there's this insecurity because we haven't developed who we are yet and know our self-worth. And so I know when I see guys react in an angry way, I know a lot of that's coming from that. Because I was once at that one point. But again, I don't think there shouldn't be a lot of like harsh judges or like, I don't think a guy should ask a friend on a date. I mean, get to know a person first. And then to see how it goes, and before things get serious, I think that's a discussion. But maybe diseases, things like that, is something we should talk about. But I've never asked, and no woman has ever asked me.
I don't think that people.
And again, age I know is a difference.
Yeah, I don't think that people specifically ask. Like, I don't think people just say like, "What's your body count?" Like when I think body count, like what's your body count, like the TikTok topics. I think that's just like a gateway to like, hey, like. Who was the last person you dated, or like how many people you've been with, like like I think those are normal topics. Like my boyfriend and I talked about our past because it's important because like a random girl will pop. I'm like, who's that? You know, like it's important to know that you don't want to be blindsided by it. But let's say names keep popping up. I'm like, now I'm like, how do you know so many people? Now we're gonna have to figure out what your body count is. So to me, again, it's not the number that's scary. It's the your past creeps up on you, and then again, like for women in specifics. Women don't sleep with people outside of their zip code. Nobody has long distance hookups. So the chances of you meeting the love of your life and him introducing you to his brother, his uncle, his dad, and them all knowing you for some strange ass reason, that's a problem. That is a problem. Because now he's going to be, oh, okay, I thought she was wifey material, but turns out everyone knows how she looks like.